At the young age of 20, Toby Atkins joined his first professional cycling team in Italy. But this dream soon turned sour when he was asked to dope by the team manager. Refusing to stay silent about what he'd seen, he became a whistleblower. As he traveled European biathlon venues to meet with officials and athletes, we sat down with him to talk about his experience and his mission.
So in 2014 I was studying at university whilst training at an elite level as a cyclist. I won my first elite race in New Zealand, and because of that I was able to gain my first professional contract in Europe. So I started training properly for that. Once I then got to Europe in Sicily for the first training camp, after about 2 weeks I was confronted with the issue of doping. I was given some testosterone pills and asked to take them, as being told they were vitamins. When he first gave the pills to me, I kind of didn't really even think that it would be doping. I just assumed, maybe it was just vitamins. It wasn't until I did more research with it before I thought about taking it that I actually realised what it was. My morals kicked in pretty quick. You certainly do consider still saying yes, because your head's a complete mess of emotions. But I think at the end of the day, my morals kind of came out on top, and I know not to cheat. I know not to build a career based on what is essentially a lie. And that's when I made the decision to say no.
I am a whistleblower. So back in 2015 I was confronted with the issue of whether or not to take performance enhancing drugs or not. And
talking about it is what's going to break down the issue of doping, really. I feel it's most important to really tell the story to athletes, just because it's them that's going to be in the same position as I was in. I think the fact that just talking about doping is half of the issue, the fact that no one wants to talk about it. And making people realise that discussing it is the only way that we're going to break down that barrier with sport. That's why I would mainly go and speak to athletes. It's also why I mainly try and focus on the junior side of it, because those are the guys that are still developing as athletes, and whether that be a mental side of things, whether that be physical, they're still being sculpted by coaches, by parents. They're still in that stage where it's easy to change mentalities. I think that's really where anti-doping is, well, the anti-doping education side of things is going to have to be focused.
All of the riders got randomly tested at every race they went to. Half of them tested positive,
Every sport, every athlete is an athlete. Whether they ride a bike, whether they ski, whether they shoot, whatever it may be, they put their absolute all, their whole life revolves around training. My life revolves around riding a bike, their life revolves around skiing. But at the end of the day, we have exactly the same morals and exactly the same state of mind that means we can train like that. So it's easy for me to put myself on the same level as a biathlete, and I would like to think a biathlete would be able to do the same with me, because we live the same lives. It's just that the actual training is a little different. I've just finished off 3 talks with IBUs, so I've done the IBU World Cup, I've also done the Junior Cup and also the IBU Cup. So 3 very different levels of the sport, but again, equally important in their own way. I've managed to talk to the athletes, the officials, some coaches as well, so I've had a really broad audience. Every single person's been hugely positive, and mainly in the sense that IBU is just being massively proactive. There's not many organisations out there that are doing something about doping and going further than what's actually necessary to do something about it.
We have the responsibility and also the honor to help the athletes in their fight against doping, and it's about education, it's about building the next generation, it's about providing them with knowledge of how to deal with situations like this, and to tell them we are here to help, and also share stories and make sure we talk about it. That this is not a taboo and a no-go, but that we can really help once they want to talk about it. So we are on the other side of the conversation.
Some of the lovely things they've said have just been incredible. The sheer support for what I'm doing with biathlon has been great. I think that just goes to show how important the connection between athletes, coaches, and then obviously moving up with the officials is as well, with the IBU.
It's got to be aware.
It's something I'd like to keep doing. It's something that allows me to really educate people, and that is massively important to me. It's me being able to give back to my sport. I just think the more people that hear the story, that learn the lessons that I've learned, it's going to benefit sport in whatever way that may be. So.